What is up? What is up? You are listening to The Wulf Hogan Show. Or, if you're seeing this on YouTube, you're watching The Wulf Hogan Show, the greatest podcast on earth to fall asleep to. I am your gracious host, Sir Wolfgang Reginald Hoginski. Welcome. How are you today? Good. And scene. Thank you. Thank you. Mwah. Mwah. That, my friends, was acting magic. You thought I was an Englishman, when in fact, I'm just a nigga. All right, so let's get right into it. This episode is about an awesome film that just dropped that I'm super excited to talk about. I recorded this episode the other day, but due to some technical difficulties, I'm going to have to record it again, and that's what I'm doing now. But it's worth it. I really enjoyed this film. And the film I'm talking about is none other than Army of the Dead, written and directed by Zack Snyder. It is starring former WWE star Dave Bautista. They wanted me for the role, but due to creative differences, I wasn't able to do it. I'm sorry. You know, I'm going to be real. It's about the money. They wanted to offer me 10, 20 million. I was like, I can't do it. I need at least 50 million for this role. All right, I apologize. I made all that up. Sorry. I want it to be cool. Anyway, let's get right into it. So, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my likes and dislikes of this film. The synopsis is Dave Bautista's character is approached by a casino owner and propositioned with a heist of sorts. He is offered a large sum of money to get a team together and break into the casino and retrieve a large sum of money. I think it's like $200 million or something like that. But there's a catch, as there usually is in films like this. The catch is Las Vegas, where the casino is, has been overrun by zombies due to a mistake from the government or Area 51 or CIA or whatever. So, the presence of zombies is going to make this operation that much more difficult. So, the cast, the last time I tried to pronounce the names of a cast, I think that was like the Mortal Kombat movie review. I butchered so many of those names, and I do apologize. So hopefully I don't butcher these names nearly as bad. So we got Dave Bautista, Ella Purnell, Huma Krejci, Tig Notaro, Matthias Schweighöfer, Anna de la Reguera, Hiroyuki Sanada, Omari Hardwick, Nora Arnazetter, Garrett Dillahunt, Theo Rossi, Samantha Wynn, Raul Castillo, and Michael Cassidy. So those are the main characters. I might have missed a couple. There are some other characters mentioned on the IMDb cast list, but I think a lot of those actors were playing zombies. So we're just going to stick to the main heist cast of living characters. I will say I did enjoy the casting in this film. I think the casting was pretty spot on. I see this film as more of like a heist movie and less of a zombie film. I say that because, even though the zombies were a big part of the story, they weren't the main focus of the story. The main focus of the story was the characters and, the different things going on in the characters' lives to make them want to take on this, seemingly impossible job. And for a film with zombies in it, it was very character driven. So I'm going to start off with my likes. Let's see here. The zombies is like the first thing I have on this list. I really enjoyed the zombies. I'm a fan of zombie fiction like The Walking Dead, zombie video games like The Last of Us, Left 4 Dead, Dying Light, things like that. These zombies were a little different, and it's refreshing to see Zack coming at us with zombies like this, because we saw his zombies in Dawn of the Dead, which were, I consider them like sprinters. They were mindless, pretty agile, pretty quick. These zombies in Army of the Dead, there are some sprinters and some like rage type zombies from kind of like the 28 Days Later zombies. But the main zombies in this film are like more intelligent. They think, they communicate with each other. They have like a pack mentality, sort of like a canine mentality, where there's like the alpha male, alpha female, and then different ranks within the zombie kingdom, which I found really, really cool. The look of the zombies was pretty cool too. They had a fantastic makeup department and special effects department, because I don't know if it was makeup or special effects, but I liked the way the skin looked on the zombies. Like it looked like sort of what it would look like if a zombie was walking around in the scorching Las Vegas heat all the time. Like some of their skin was like dry or maybe like burned and healed. There was like a presence of like blue veins that were faint enough just to see under the skin. It was really, really cool. Speaking about that brings me to my next like of the film, the special effects. When it comes to zombies killing people, I thought I'd seen it all. I really did. I thought I'd seen it all from watching so much zombie films, television shows over the years. But I think, Zack Snyder and his team, they came up with new and interesting ways for zombies to kill people, which I found really, really cool. And the use of blood and gore, it wasn't overdone, but I think it was spread out evenly throughout the film, so we wouldn't get like tired of it. Like if a film starts and right out the gate everyone's getting killed every 5 seconds, by the end of the movie you're gonna get tired of that. So they had it spread out pretty evenly throughout the movie, so it was like refreshing. It sounds kind of weird, but it was refreshing seeing someone get murdered in a very grisly fashion every so often in this film. And speaking of special effects, apparently Chris D'Elia was cast as the helicopter pilot, and due to whatever allegations he was facing, Zack Snyder fired him from the film and replaced him with Tig Notaro, which I found was fantastic. And what's even more interesting is that Tig never actually worked with any of the cast. Like all of her scenes were filmed in front of green screen and added in later on. And I read that article before watching the actual movie, and I sort of regretted reading it, because I was like, I'm going to be focused on, Tig the whole time, like seeing if I can tell if she's there or not, and it's going to be distracting. And I must say, if I did not read that article, I would have had no idea she had not met I think even like to this day, she hasn't met most of the cast, especially Dave Bautista. She hasn't met Dave Bautista at all. But I thought that was very interesting. It kind of shows where we are, how advanced we are technologically when it comes to films, and I wonder what that means for the future of filmmaking. Like with deepfake technology and this technology where you're able to film someone somewhere else and put them in a film. I mean, I wonder if actors who have passed on, I wonder if they can be brought back for certain roles with this type of technology, or actors who are tied up with another project. If they're able to film their parts separately, maybe have a body double fill in as well, and use deep fake technology to add the face in later. I wonder if that would make it easier for certain actors to be a part of certain projects. That also makes me wonder, I don't mean to go off too far, with this type of technology, I wonder if in the future more people will use it for the wrong reasons, maybe blackmail, digitally putting someone in an incriminating video and releasing it to the public. It kind of makes you wonder. It's kind of creepy. Anyway, let's get back to the film. These characters felt relatable. We didn't get a chance to see a ton of their backstories or see their interaction really before the events of this film, except for like the opening credits. But they did feel likable. That's like the right word to use. There were some relationships between certain characters that were kind of like, I don't know, they felt forced sometimes, a little cheesy at times, but for the most part, the relationships that were like the main focus of the film, they felt authentic. It sort of reminds me of how the original Walking Dead sort of built their cast of characters into a family. Now, this film clearly doesn't have the time, or doesn't spend nearly as much time building these characters like, The Walking Dead has over however many seasons. But for the amount of time they had, they sort of set up to where, watching the film, I'm like, okay, I'll buy it. Speaking of characters, I enjoy the acting in this film, especially Dave Bautista. He almost didn't do the film. Like, I read in an article where he was offered the role and he almost turned it down because we know him as Drax the Destroyer, we know him in Stuber, we know him in a few other films that are action films. But in those films, he doesn't really get to flex his acting muscles, and that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to play a role that would force him to make bigger choices, not just, kick the shit out of people. I get it. We got a taste of it when he was in Blade Runner 2049, I believe. He was the protein farmer. And even though he's in the movie for like a second, when I was in the theater watching it, I was like, dude, this guy is a heavy hitter, He's he's coming with some heat. He had a scene with Ryan Gosling where I believe, the movie's been out for long enough, so I think I can talk about it now, but he had a scene with Ryan Gosling where I believe Batista was playing a replicant that had been on the run for however long, an old model that needed to be retired or killed. And they share some dialogue, and it's just a real like heartfelt tense moment because we know what's coming. We know there's going to be some sort of altercation. We don't know exactly when, but as their conversation progresses, it gets more and more confrontational, and I think Batista really he shines in those type of roles, like a big dude who can let his fists do the talking, but he'd rather reason with you, and that's kind of like what this character was in Army of the Dead. Name is Scott Ward. He was a mercenary or something like that, but he's when we first see him, he's found himself on hard times. He's working at some Chinese food / burger restaurant, and his level of desperation outweighs common sense, I believe, because anybody in their right mind wouldn't go back into a zombie war zone like that. But you dangle that money in front of him, and he'll bite. So yeah, I think Batista really showed some true talent in this film, and I think he's in Dune as well. The Dune that's coming out. Wait, is it Dune or Doom? I think he's in Dune. Let me see here. Yeah, Dune. And I got a feeling that character is going to be pretty intense as well. That whole vibe of that film looks like it's going to be some serious shit. So another thing which sort of ties into the acting of the film. I mean, I guess the actors can only do so much. The real magic lies in post-production, all the writing and post-production. But I enjoyed the pacing of the film. It starts out with an opening credit scene that sort of tells a story of what happened after the initial zombie came to Las Vegas. And after that, I like how it's paced. I mean, some parts seem a little rushed and some parts seem a little dragged on, and I'll get to that in my dislikes. But overall, I like the pacing of the film. I heard some people reviewing the film say that they could have shaved off 15-20 minutes. I get that, but I think it's fine the way it is. I'd say maybe for the last, maybe they should have, for the runtime being 15 minutes longer than it maybe should have been, I'd say in the last 25 minutes they could have maybe answered some questions. I really don't want to give away too much, but there are some things that happen in the film that aren't explained at all. Maybe they're waiting for the sequel or the prequel. But maybe I think some of those questions should have been answered, particularly about a certain type of zombie that we saw that no one mentioned at all in the film. So yeah, pacing was fine to me. All right, so now we're going to go to the dislikes. I don't have many dislikes, just 2 dislikes. And I mean, it's not even necessarily about the film itself. I thought the film was fantastic, and I can't wait to see what's next in this franchise. If they're going to make if they're going to make a sequel. I know they're making a prequel, but if they make a sequel, I'm eager to see what happens with this breed of zombie. But my dislikes are, the first one is the shallow depth of field. And I don't dislike that. I think it's very artistic and beautiful sometimes, and it forces the viewer to focus on like exactly what the director wants you to focus on, because you're forced to. Everything else is blurred out. But I think they used it too much, and in like weird situations. Like they used it in some action sequences as well, and I'm like, that's pretty cool, but I kind of want to see like what's going on around the characters while they're doing their thing. But to each their own. I've seen that effect used only a couple more times recently on that show, That Damn Michael Che. They use it, which doesn't really bother me nearly as much because there's not really much action in that show. It's just like people sitting and talking. It's very like dialogue heavy. So your eyes aren't really trying to focus on a bunch of other stuff. You're just looking at the people talking in front of you. And Promising Young Woman used that shallow depth of field a lot in that film. And it's like the same sort of thing as That Damn Michael Che, which is a fantastic show, by the way, HBO Max. But in Promising Young Woman, they use that shallow depth of field a lot, but there's not really a lot of action. There's no running and shooting or anything like that, so it really doesn't, it doesn't really stand out nearly as much. All right, so where do I want this franchise to go? I would like for there to be at least 2 more sequels. I might do a podcast episode where I, talk about the film in depth. It'll be like a spoiler review or whatever, just so I can discuss like some things that I was confused about. But I would like for like the next film to completely, as a matter of fact, let's see here. I was going to say I want the next film to, like immediately follow the events from the first film. Basically, the last scene of the first film, I want that to be like that setting, whatever is happening, I want that to be like the start of the next film and go from there. And then like a third film be like sort of a prequel. But now that I'm thinking about it, maybe just one more film. And that one film will be an in-depth look at the events from the opening sequence of the first film. I think that'd be cool to show the team of mercenaries handling business, saving those people in Las Vegas, quarantining the strip and all that. So I think that'd be pretty cool. But, we can only see it. I think Zack Snyder said that he's only going to do more films if the fans want it. But from what I see on social media and reading in articles, I think the fans want it. So hopefully they'll do that. But I want to hear what you have to say. I want to know what you thought of the film. So if you are watching this video on YouTube, please comment down below and just tell me what you thought of the film. Tell me where you think the franchise is going. Tell me what you didn't like about the film. I want to hear it all. If you are just listening to this in podcast form, go ahead and send an email to thewulfhoganshow@gmail.com. That's Wolf with a U. And just let me know what you thought about the film. I want to thank you so much for watching and listening. If you know anyone that would like this video, please point them in this direction. Or if you yourself enjoy this video or any of my other videos, please like, share, and subscribe. I know these are trying times, but please hang in there. We are all in this together. Please be kind to one another. God bless, and peace out.